Alright, let's try this one again. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I didn't post over the weekend. I had a really bad sinus infection and I felt like crap. I also sounded like 4 octaves lower this afternoon before I went and bought some Claritin or Zyrtec or something over the counter because I have medical insurance. Oh, this is like the 19th take of this video because either my mom comes down or my computer just decides it's randomly going to stop taking the video, so I'm a little peeved about that. I am highly anticipating a phone call this week from Old Navy. I went in for a job interview on Friday and it went fantastic. Usually I don't get a call back because when they do background checks on me, my high school diploma says one thing and my college diploma says another. One says female, Amber, and the other one says Drew, male. And that's a really hard one to dispute. I don't ever really know what type of background checks they're going to be doing. So I'm always like heavily concerned about that. I really just want to get the best job I possibly can, and the economy is pretty horrible. But boy, do I love Old Navy. I really want that job. I love retail. I love helping people, and I really like the fact that they're very diverse in who they hire. And I really need something to do. My student loans are coming in too, and it's been 6 months since I've graduated college. I feel like that girl from post-grad who goes in and she's like, so are you, how far along are you? And the lady's like, I'm definitely not pregnant. Something I would do. I seem to mess up a lot of things. I'm very klutzy and, funny like that. So, one thing that I really hate is being trans and the employment issues that we usually face, If discrimination had anything to do with it, which it usually does, as far as in this economy, because they can't really just hire willy-nilly anymore. They want their bang for their buck, and if there's any controversy whatsoever, people don't hire you. And trans is still so understood. That sounded really bad. So misunderstood. Wow, my brain's fried today. Just really kills me that we were on the front lines for everything at Stonewall. Sylvia Rivera and her Naio Chu, and we don't get a lot of credit. We're always the last people in office, and I don't understand why. We're human beings. There's nothing wrong with us. We have a medical condition, and we just want to feel right. And thousands upon thousands of people in America, millions of Americans can get plastic surgery and correct something they don't like, but we try to do the same thing, and we're looked at as monsters. Read this article out of Scientific Mind, and it really pissed me off. They had something about transsexualism and that is the third gender. And talking a lot about how when we transition, we usually stick with being heterosexual, but a lot of us who want to be quote unquote homosexual is because we envy what we lack, and I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Just pure and simple. And it talks a lot about that, just that in particular, about sexual orientation, and warning about transsexualism will, help us more about not just gender identity, but about sexual orientation, and they have nothing to do with one another. The fact of whether I am gay or I am straight is completely a bollocks when it comes to freaking looking at it from a gender identity standpoint. And I really wish people would take that into consideration. For decades upon decades, people that wanted to transition, if their therapist got wind of any sort of thing about them having a different gender or sexual orientation, they were halted in their process. And I think that's bullshit. You love who you love, and your gender identity has nothing to do with it. I hear a lot of people say, well, if you're transitioning to be male, why do you like men? Or vice versa. And I think it's stupid. Your anatomy has nothing to do with who you want to, have intimate relations with. That's just stupid. I'm sorry. It just really irritated me because they had a great article on the difference between men and women's minds, which was culturally based, in my opinion. From the moment that we're conceptualized in, the mother's womb. Wow, that was a really bad term. The moment that we're born, where we're placed in one category or the other, and we're socialized as such. And while there are differences, I believe, in the brain, because after taking testosterone, my language abilities have gone down a lot. It's harder for me to speak my mind. When I used to be very fluent, I could talk all day, every day. So, I mean, there has to be differences in the hemispheres, how they talk to one another, the synapses and the rapid firing and such. But as far as anything else, I think it's really just culturally based, and we're influenced by how people perceive us. I was thinking about that study they did in the mid-50s, where they took this baby and they put it in yellow and they gave it neutral toys, and they brought people in who were subjects, and I think like 10 men and 10 women, and they all thought different about, what sex the baby actually was, and then at the end of the study, they revealed the baby's, true sex, and it was shocking that a lot of people, when they thought it was a little boy, they strong, masculine, and women, they're soft spoken, soft and delicate. It's just, we're all the same from womb to tomb, and our differences are what inspire the world. But at the same time, if men want to play with dolls and women want to play with trucks, who cares? Because a lot of us had such rigid gender roles when we were younger. We're scarred from it. I was scared to death to play with trucks and everything. Not for my parents, because of my parents, but because when I would go to school, kids would bully me about it, and it took me forever to learn male social cues and all that stuff, and it irritates me. Why can't a child just grow up the way they want to grow up? They can play with whatever they want. They can wear what they want. Why must we have such rigid gender roles in America, or just all over the world? Sorry, that was my rant for the day. Oh, I'm really tired. I moved back to the area to live with my parents to save money because I'm not making any money, and I don't really have a lot of friends around here, so I don't know. Get really lonely around here sometimes, and my video taking abilities are still really bad, and I apologize. I really do. And I apologize a lot. That's something I'm in counseling for, so. But I need to go because Zyrtec's messing with my head. It's making me kind of drowsy, so I'm going to get off here, and plus my computer sounds like it's going to blow up, so hopefully this is the last take. Anyways, anything y'all want to comment about, please leave on my page. I mean, befriend me, do what you will. I hope to hear from y'all. I really do. Constructive criticism is good in my book. Anyways, before I go, I did want to show my chest. Quick word of warning, I covered up my fraternity tattoo, just out of respect for them, because it is a men's organization, and the fact that I am revealing myself to be a female to male transsexual, I don't want there to be a national outcry, people from other chapters getting a little upset over that fact. Even though, all of my fraternity knows, it's just a respect thing. I don't know who's going to watch these videos, so you can never be too careful. Anyways, here's my guess. Double mastectomy done by Dr. Fisher in June 19th of 2007. So 3 years in June. So yay me. Anyways, I'm going to head off here because I'm really getting drowsy. Peace out.